Now, VC at the moment, the leaders of VC, when we look at Supercoach Plus, is 10.4% to Cleary, 10.1% to Kalen Ponga. The captain leaders are the same. Cleary 26.2, Ponga 20.3. Now, are they the two most obvious options, boys? How are we looking at captain this week, Josh?
I'm just curious on who the 10.6 that are VC and Cleary are planning on captaining.
Yeah.
Because there's not much to come after. I mean, unless you're
Sarko.
Yeah, I was going to say just a
deal bags.
Max Plath.
Yeah, Max Plath special. Look, I made the very last minute change to jump off KP onto Turbo for the VC. And now I'm terrified. I am hoping for a 117-point affair. That's it. Not enough to loop, but still very, very good.
I'm hoping for a 217. That would be nice.
Oh, I'm not coming back on. I'm going to retire again.
I was very nervous watching Turbo, though, in Vegas. Yeah. Like, whoa, that was a tough watch, especially when everybody else around me had this Turbo VC.
Especially when your mates have got him. Like, you want your mates to, like, because you were sitting with me and, like, you want me to do well. But at the same time, you're like, really. Shit, I don't want him to do, fuck you. You don't want him to do too well. It's like that weird in between where you own a player, but you don't captain them. You want them to do well, but not too well. I think the standouts this week would be Ponga V. Shout out to Rowan who put C Metcalf in the chat. I think KP is the standout vice captain. And then the question becomes, if you own SJ, I think he's a great captaincy option. But then the bigger question, the elephant in the room is, if you own Nicho Hynes and you get no confirmation that he's goal kicking, can you run the risk of captaincy? Because if he's not goal kicking for a week, he's not enough to not start with. But it sort of swings the captaincy debate. The Storm with no Munster was looking really enticing for a Cleary captain. But then obviously if Munster's playing, it's sort of like this week never really had a huge standout captain option. And that's why the Ponga straight C generally did look like a play.
Take me back. You mentioned the whole, we don't know whether he's going to goal kick. Take me back to 2023. It was round 4. They were versing the St. George Illawarra Dragons. I didn't pick Nicho Hynes. He didn't even need to play 80 minutes. And in round 4, he put up 180 points under an injury cloud and ruined my season in round 4.
He didn't put up 180 for my team. I believe it was.
He put up 360 for you.
For me, yes.
Yep. Because you straight captained him too, didn't you, that round?
Yeah.
Big balls.
Yeah, it was. But that's the thing. Like, playing in New Zealand is not the Dragons, obviously. Can we trust Nicho with this sort of doubt, or do you just straight captain Ponga?
There's every logic to straight captain Ponga, but the problem with VCing and looping this week, Matty, correct me if I'm wrong here, is that you've got so many bench AEs. Like, we've got so many question marks on the bench.
Fafita, if you've got Viliami Fafita on your team, he could get 4 this week. Just know that.
10 minutes and get 5 points.
Okay, then this becomes, if Ponga goes massive, like 180, does that impact who you start with? Do you then run enough? If you have a Fafita, do you then deliberately run enough if he goes bonkers?
Yes. Honestly,
I think
yes.
I think
over like a Fafita, yes.
You can't not take the loop. I think Fafita turns into a non-player. Absolutely. Yeah. I think you'd have to. You'd be silly not to. But I think you'd be smarter to straight captain.
Yeah, I think straight captaining is the play. If you're not confident on Cleary against Penrith, or you're not confident against Nicho, I'm sure there's some absolute sickos out there that don't own those two, and for them, very brave, and I'm proud of you. Hopefully they own Dylan Brown against the Bulldogs, or you own a Mitch Moses. But did you see enough defensively from the Bulldogs in that second preseason trial to put you on the side of caution? Or was it no Nicho for the Sharks?
Yeah, I think that they were pretty good.
Yeah, I'm talking about the Bulldogs' defensive effort against
the
Bulldogs'
defense. Defense isn't going to be their issue. Like, Bulldogs are going to have a lot of issues this year. But yeah, defense wasn't it. They looked really good. I think I'm leaning towards a Cleary captain, even with Cam Munster. And I hate the Melbourne matchup. There's a bit of an injury cloud on Hynes. I think, honestly, the spice in me wants to just go Dylan Brown or somebody like that. But let's just go Cleary to be safe. You know what? If I fuck it up, everybody else is captaining him.
Yeah, I'm also on Cleary, but I think if I didn't VC Turbo, I probably would just straight see Ponga. Apart from that, there's not many other captaincy options that
I'll tell you what,
at.
Dave has mentioned an option. SJ against his old team, the Sharkies.
Yeah,
and do you remember the game that he played against the Sharks last year where he kicked the conversion to win the game in the fucking pissing down wet?
Oh,
that was one
was
of the all-time best games I've watched last year. So I'm all about the vibes. That's the vibe captain pick.
You know, 8 o'clock over in New Zealand, Friday night. It's going to be going off. Yeah, I think if you're an SJ, if I was to rank like probably the best options this week, I would rank KP 1, SJ 2, Cleary 3, Hines 4.
Yeah.
Drinkwater.
I agree.
Against the Drinkwater against the Dolphins.
Drinkwater's huge, but then that obviously locks you out of like if you have Drinkwater, I assume that you have one of Turbo,
Ponga,
and all that, and that's the thing. Like, and if you've locked yourself out, if you haven't, like, fuck, fair play to you. Like, if you've VC'd Cleary or Hines, Drinkwater against the Dolphins is huge. I actually forgot about that one.
The problem is most of the time Drinkwater is going to be a bench reserve. You've already had how many elite fullbacks have played already?
That's what I mean. Like unless you lock yourself out.
Yeah, you've had Latrell, Teddy, like all of these guys, Turbo have already played. And most of the time you're going to start them.
You would have had to, because obviously, with the golden rule of reserving, like you always play your later players at the reserve. Like you would have had to plan for Drinkwater to be
Yeah.
So that's the only.
I mean, if you were like, we weren't looking at getting Drinkwater, but if you had Drinkwater in your team, you probably knew they were playing the Dolphins round 1. So
yeah, of course, and you knew they were playing last. But then that's the thing. Like if you own Drinkwater and KP, like I love the matchup for Drinky, but like I just can't pass up KP. I think he's the number 1 option. I think, okay, let's add let's add Drinky into the mix. So I think KP 1, SJ 2, Drinky 3, Cleary 4, Hines 5, Brown 6. Brown / Moses, whoever Eels half, you have 6. So they're my rankings.